when you're doing quadratic equations, quite a lot of the time without Excel, further papers, particularly what they call the 4H, the second paper, they embed the question inside another problem. So we've got a problem here where we've got a diagram of the trapezium, and the trapezium has an area of 17 centimeters squared. We need to create an equation that creates 2x squared plus 7x minus 17. Now that's quite common. They often will ask you them to show part of the answer. So they won't just leave you completely blind and expect you to suddenly realise that's what's happening. But the show steps are fairly important. Now, there is a formula for the area of a trapezium. Give me a moment. And it's actually given to us on a formula sheet in the exam. So you've got all these facts that you might want to have an idea about. I think I've already shared it with you, but I'll attach it to today's lesson as well. So we need the area of a trapezium is a half of the two parallel sides added together, and then multiplied by the height. Okay. Again, there's the quadratic formula for us, so we don't have to remember that. So what we can do is we're going to apply that formula in our situation. So we've got 1/2 a plus b times h. So we look at our formula. It's a trapezium because we've got two right angles making these two sides parallel. So the area of that trapezium is going to be the sum of these two sides, so 1/2 times the sum of a, I'm going to call it x, and b, I'm going to say is the x plus 7. A, b, and there's my perpendicular height. And I need to multiply by my perpendicular height, 2x. We're also told this is equal to 17, so what we can do is actually apply this. The first thing is those two cancel. So what we've now got is we've got 2x plus 7 multiplied by x, which is 2x squared plus 7x. And then to bring this 17 to the other side, we subtract it. And we've now shown the equation. Now what they want us to do is give your answer, correct to 3 significant figures, show your working clearly. Now there's a bit of a clue to technique here. If they say there's integers or rational functions, you might be thinking about using completing the square or factorising. Because it said 3 significant figures, we're going to use our quadratic formula, which again is on the formula sheet. Okay, so it's written there on the formula sheet. So I've got B. We need to work out what A, B and C are. And we're going to use A is 2, B is 7 and C is minus 17. And we put it into our formula. Now I would encourage you, please always show that you're using the quadratic formula by putting values in the pattern of the quadratic formula. So if I just move this over so we can see both side by side. And I'll scroll that aside a bit because I don't need the question at the moment. Okay, scroll. So I'm going to use the A, B and C in the form of the quadratic equation, and by putting it in that form I'm liable to pick up some marks for showing that I've understood it's a quadratic formula and I've correctly identified my numbers. So if I put in minus 7 plus or minus the square root of b squared, now I would always put this number in brackets. I've had a few of you talking to me before about not getting the quadratic formula to work, and it's often because people, when there's a minus for the b and they square it, the calculator makes a mistake. So that's why I put the brackets on there. Times 2 times minus 17. Divide that all by 2a. So it's 2 by 2. That's enough to get some of the marks. Okay, so what I need to do now is substitute this into my equation. So I need minus 7 add on, we'll come back and edit this in a minute. So the whole of this top bit needs to be in brackets to make sure it goes over a fraction properly. Times the square root, and inside the square root we have 7, and I put it in brackets to make sure that it stays the right sign. Subtract, and then the minus 4 times minus 17 is going to give me a positive, so I'm going to turn that into a plus. 4 times 8 times 17, come outside, and I need to put a bracket on the end to balance that one. Now, a lot of people will lose marks because they try to be clever and take over from the calculator. I am going to at this point, because I'm going to say 2 by 2 is 4, just to save myself needing a bracket to force this as a denominator. And what I've got is a irrational number. When I turn it into a decimal, I've got an answer 1.6504. That's not the correct accuracy yet, but I need to edit it and check that there's not another solution now. It's quite obvious that when this changes to subtract, we now have 2 negative numbers and we get a negative answer as well. But do show them, and then show them that you have chosen your answer. Okay, there's my 2 possible solutions. I'll just go back to having the question set full screen. So now I need to actually show my answer, and this is common in Excel. Give your answers to 3 significant figures. Remember, 3 significant figures is the first most insignificant digit is the first one that's not 0. We want 3 figures, and the 0 says round down, so the 5 stays the same. 1.65. Okay. I'm going to create this